Good morning, and welcome to another fine edition of the Insight Show on this Reno Media Group radio station. I'm Deeanna, and today I have with me Lisa Shaffer with the Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation, and I have Carlos Hernandez with Calavera Barbell. An odd pairing, but we'll get to that in a minute. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us today.
Absolutely. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about the Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation. Give us a little background story on your history.
You bet. So we are a local foundation, grassroots funded, serving local children for the last 19 years diagnosed with cancer and their families. So in a nutshell, that is kind of us. But we come from two organizations, 19 years ago, Angel Kiss and Keaton Raphael. They grew a little bit, and then they joined together in 2009 to become the Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation.
Nice.
Yeah, so we our region is large, the entire Northern Nevada region, all the way to the eastern part of the state. We help these families emotionally, financially, and then we also have a piece that goes towards research. We will typically help about 40 new families each year in the Northern Nevada area.
That's awesome.
The average length of treatment is about 3 years. So at any given time, we could be helping anywhere from 100 to 120 families.
Okay.
So we're kind of like their first stop after a new diagnosis.
Yeah.
We kind of pride ourselves on the emotional component. These families really do pop in and out of our offices Monday through Friday, all of the time, stopping in before treatment, coming by our office maybe after they had an infusion treatment at Renown. And they our infamous little toy closet that exists in the back of our offices is kind of like the favorite spot for our kiddos. Yeah. So we're very family centered. So all of the siblings are treated exactly the same. Mom and dad, can hang out in one of our offices, our programs and services office. They can come in the back. It's very often you might see a family hanging out, kind of just sitting around chatting with some of us. They really come to us for that strength and that sort of camaraderie that we offer. And it's very common that we will stop whatever we're doing just to support, a family that is in the office. We've played karaoke music with little kiddos in the back. We've played Operation in the back with the family just to kind of it's a relaxing setting.
Yeah.
And so whatever sort of needs to be, we are all hands on deck and just very supportive of whatever the family needs. And each family's so different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their family dynamics are so different. Their family support, family and friend support.
Yeah.
All different, whether they travel every day or they travel out of the Northern Nevada region for their treatment. So it can be just vastly different from family to family.
I can imagine that it can be very taxing for a family when it comes to something like childhood cancer. I mean, not only are you concerned for your child's well-being and making sure they're in the best hands of care as possible, but to have an organization like yours to support them through the process has to be extremely helpful and rewarding for people like you who are involved in the organization.
You bet. That is why I've been there so long.
Yeah.
And you would be something amazing happens in our office, not kidding, almost every day.
Yeah.
And we're so dependent upon the community and all of the volunteers and the community partners and the community sponsors for all of our signature events. I mean, we rely on this community so very much. Community partnerships like this partnership that we're going to talk about with Carlos and Calavera Barbell and Pulling for Our Little Heroes really has grown to be a very significant part of our budget.
Yeah.
We went through the recession, in those years like 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we realized how much we needed to really diversify our sponsorships and donor base. And
Right.
this is where community partners sort of got involved and has grown. So it is easily 1/4 of our budget is
Wow.
the community partners and events that people like Carlos will put on. Anything from this event to a lemonade stand put on by a couple of kiddos,
Yeah.
around the corner. So
Yeah,
it's amazing.
absolutely.
It's amazing.
So you're no stranger to radio. You've actually been in our building before
I have.
to talk about the Children's Cancer Foundation. So, but for the people who are listening for the first time on our Insight show, tell us a little bit about your background with the organization and how you're involved.
Okay, so I have been involved for the last 8 years, director of community engagement.
Okay.
So not only do I, orchestrate all the logistics and all the sponsorships for all of our signature events, which include a golf tournament, which takes place in September.
Okay.
The reason it takes place in September is to honor Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So everyone knows about October and the pink ribbon and breast cancer, but not everyone knows about September and how that is the national month that's recognized for childhood cancer awareness, and that the gold ribbon is the national symbol for childhood cancer.
Right.
So we have that golf tournament, and then we do a poker tournament where we partner here locally with Microsoft. And then we also have a really large Know the Gold 5-month-long campaign, and that's kind of where Pulling for Our Little Heroes comes in.
Wow.
And we're just so lucky that it takes place in September. So again, it honors September. It honors Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. He puts on a 5-day, basically, it's CrossFit and weightlifting kind of a competition. And so we're just grateful for all of the community we have in Northern Nevada. I'm sure you see that all the time.
Yeah.
What an amazing,
we have a great support system.
Inspiring and generous community we live in. Reno is the best. It is the best. And again, those magical things that I see every day, I mean, they happen with their families. They happen with community members who pop in our office with these amazing ideas like Carlos's competition. Anyway, so hopefully that kind of sets you up. I am out in the community a lot. Doing lots of awareness and advocacy. We really try to get out there, in September, daily, weekly, handing out gold ribbons to, again, spread awareness of childhood cancer and Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
So the organization, not only being an emotional and financial support for families, I just want to touch on a little bit the programs that you run, your Inspire program and your eSmart program. Why don't you just tell us a little snippet about those?
So, like you talked about, the financial assistance that we offer, we realize no one can afford cancer. No one can afford childhood cancer.
Yeah.
So that is, what we provide is, the financial, the emotional, the help, the hope, the courage. That's what we say is kind of our tagline of why we're here. And then, so we use the eSmart program so that all of our kiddos can stay in connection with school while they're going through treatment.
That's wonderful.
But also on an even, smaller scale with some of the littles, a tablet or, a tablet of any kind can be very distractionary. So while they're going through some of the pinches and pokes that they actually have to go through when they're in the hospital, there is this distractionary tool.
Yeah.
So those, it really helps, the broad spectrum of all of the children in different ways, though.
Yeah.
And then I love our Inspire scholarship program because when these kiddos get done with their treatment, down the road, whether they were diagnosed with cancer as a 6-year-old or as a 16-year-old, we will be there when they are all done and ready to fly the nest and go, do amazing things out there in the world.
Yeah.
So we support them with a traditional scholarship for, a 4-year university, but we also will support any kind of a trade school that they decide to go to, an esthetician school. It could be, we've had lineman schools. We've had, kiddos who've gone to salons. So we will support them. We have a whole scholarship presentation that takes place in June where we really celebrate these kids and them, going out into the world and sort of making their way as healthy individuals. So we are there from the beginning, the middle, the end, and we, really believe in the survivorship component of childhood cancer as well.
That's wonderful. And as you mentioned, this isn't something that can be done off the cuff. This is funded by our community.
It is.
You are a nonprofit organization. You run on donations, and it takes a village. We need the help of everyone.
Yeah.
So you've chosen to kind of help finance some of the portion of your budget by partnering with these local businesses and other local organizations. So that's where Carlos and Calavera Barbell come in, because you have that Pulling for Your Little Heroes event that you mentioned, and that's coming up. Tell us a little bit about this partnership and how it started.
So this partnership goes way back, even before my existence with Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation. And I'll let Carlos kind of talk about his passion and why he got involved. But he also helps us out each March. We do a St. Baldrick's event, which is 100% of research funds that are raised.
Right.
We typically will shave 200 heads one day and one evening in March. And Carlos participates in that event. And I think he's done that for 12 years. Is that what you said?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just finished the 12th. 2019 was the 12th year.
Yeah. So, again, that was his initial connection with NNCCF, and what inspires him and his passions, came a little before me. And again, I love hearing his story, and
Yeah.
it's very heartfelt, like all of our stories are, but it definitely, he should talk about that.
So Carlos Hernandez from Calavera Barbell, tell us about your fitness organization. How did you guys end up getting involved in community events like this?
So I run Calavera Barbell, and it's a small USA weightlifting, Olympic-style weightlifting gym in South Reno. I coach kids in weightlifting from ages 6 and 7 years old to 59 years old. My mom's 59, I think. So yeah, so it goes in anywhere in between. So we compete in the sport. We just got back from Orlando last year, Barcelona, 2 years ago, New Zealand. So a small weightlifting gym in South Reno, and we get to compete internationally and a national stage too. So we take, so we love to compete in the sport. It keeps us kind of young and striving for things, and it keeps us motivated for doing other things.
And you have a youth weightlifting program. Tell me a little bit about this program, because I feel like this could raise a couple eyebrows when you think of children lifting weights, and should that be done? But tell us a little bit about why you do it and what the benefits are.
Absolutely. I love teaching kids at a young age how to learn how to lift properly. If they get a great foundation to start off with, it only helps their athletic development. Mm-hmm. They know how to use their legs, their hips, and everything the right way. We've taken kids from ages 6 and 7, and they've just developed into like some superb athletes later on in high school because of the foundations that they learn from weightlifting. So I think it's just it's kind of an old myth of the the whole bones and stuff like that. If you teach it the right way and they're mechanically moving the right way, it's actually super safe. It's actually safer than most sports to play.
Yeah.
If they're doing it the right way. And one of our biggest core values is technique. So we really focus the technique from ages 7 till like 12 and 13. It's just all technique. Olympic style weightlifting is 99% technique.
Right.
So learning how to lift the barbell properly overhead is the number one focus in our gym first. So yeah, I could see how a lot of people would raise eyebrows if they see kind of a kid under heavy load. But they don't understand that kid's probably been lifting for 5 years now and can actually move mechanically well.
But it makes a lot of sense what you mentioned, because when it comes to children and sports, they tend to get caught up in the adrenaline of an actual activity. So I can see how they would be much more inclined to be injured in a soccer game or even a game of kickball, something so simple, on during recess or on the playground at school, but rather than being in a confined space with trained athletes, with people who have been doing this as a career, and they're focusing on the technique, like you said, and they're learning properly how to control their bodies, how to control the weight, and it's got to be really helpful for their development.
It is. It's like I said, we've seen kids that come in, that are just getting in tune with their bodies, kind of uncoordinated. They're growing.
Yeah.
And they come in, and within a year or two, they are a lot more developed athletically. They can throw a little bit harder. They can run faster. They can jump higher. It's a lot of the benefits that come with the sport of weightlifting, with strength and power and speed.
So tell us how this ended up transitioning into hey, let's have an event for children who have been diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah. So in 2008, I met a little girl by the name of Kylie Lassord, and it was a colleague of mine's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to shave your head in March? We're trying to raise money for St. Baldrick's."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't have very much hair anyway. Like, it's not going to be that bad."
Won't take too long to grow back.
I had no idea what I was actually getting into.
Yeah.
So we started raising money, and I told my wife, Paige, and I said, "Hey, Kel told me to shave my head to raise money for St. Baldrick's." And she was like, "Well, like, why? Does he know somebody? Does he?" And at the time, I didn't know, but he later kind of told me that his daughter had been diagnosed with brain cancer.
Oh, gosh.
And I believe she was like 7 years old. And this was in 2008. So I was like, absolutely, like, it's just hair. Like, if I could do anything to help, like, I'm all about it. So I started shaving my head in 2008, and unfortunately, she became an angel later that year, and I was like broken. Like, so I took Kel's fight and kind of made it my own.
Yeah.
Her wish was, that there's a Kylie's wish, and she wished that no other child would suffer from cancer. So I kind of took her wish and said, I'm going to do whatever I can now, right? So years after that, I mean, I've been shaving my head ever since, and that, like Lisa said, it goes towards funding of research.
Right.
For cure.
For cure.
We hope one day we can all just be sitting on the couch eating bonbons, and we don't need this job. Because we do hope that there will be a cure for all childhood cancer.
And then I think in 2013, I was like, we work out, we lift. I'm like, why don't we just get some of our friends together and we raise some more money? Like, we don't make it a one-time thing a year. Like, we just do it a couple times and raise as much money. It's not like the kids don't need help year-round. They need help year-round financially. So we got together the first year. It was like 6 or 7 teams. We showed up, and we did some workouts at CrossFit Initiative, and we raised like $6,000 on that weekend. And it was
nice.
And at the time, I was like, it was just friends, and we got together, and we cooked some burgers after, and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe we raised $6,000 this weekend. Like, imagine what we can do if we did a little bit more planning and maybe got a little bit more involved with the community. And like, we're like, okay, well, let's do it next year too, right? So it just kind of kept growing from there. And it's kind of evolved a little bit more to we added weightlifting, we added beach volleyball. And like Lisa said, the community here in Reno is so tight knit. And they all want to help. They just don't know how sometimes. So if we provided a vehicle to get you from, hey, if participate, donate, like help a team out, they can help families that are like going through a battle that we can't even fathom.
Yeah.
So my best friend too, a couple years after Kylie, his daughter had a Wilms tumor, and so I think after those experiences, the fact that I have 3 boys, I think it just hit home, and I was like, this is real. Like, cancer is not going to pick and choose. it does what it wants, and
Right, it doesn't
sometimes
discriminate.
We don't have a choice,
Yeah.
but we do have a choice in how we react to it and what we can do for other families. So,
Yeah. And you're being a little modest when you say it's kind of grown from the first year you've done this, because I'm looking at the amount that you've raised through this event each year. And from 2013, where you started at raising $6,000, now last year you raised $48,000. So it's increased substantially over the years. It seems that it's really gained a lot of traction.
It has. I have this super team at home with the wife. There's a super team around me that actually makes it happen. They, from the programming side, from the organization, because I'm like probably the most unorganized there is. So there's like a super team around that just kind of helps the community. The Sands has been so generous in donating their tent and their parking lot for us to be able to accommodate more people. And the fact that the CrossFit gyms, the weightlifting teams, and the beach volleyball teams, they keep growing it a little bit more, but they understand the reason we do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most important thing. We get to have fun and lift a little bit and have fun, but at the end of the day, like, we all know that we're there to try to help other families.
Yeah.
So it has grown a little bit. I don't know. Usually every year I get scared that, oh my God, what if nobody shows up? But
it doesn't
it
look
doesn't
like
happen
you have
with
that
Reno.
problem.
But it doesn't happen with Reno. Like, Reno's just, like I said, it's so tight knit, and
Yeah.
they want to help. They just don't know how sometimes. So
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where our conversation comes in, because I'm reading details on the event itself, and it's not a portion of the proceeds. Every single penny that is raised is donated towards the Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation. So it's a 100% donated. So tell us a little bit about, how can people get involved if they're not an athlete? How can they help?
that's a great question. We want more people to come see some of these amazing athletes. So for those days of the beach volleyball, September 3 and 4, I believe the beach volleyball is, and then for the weightlifting 6 and 7, you don't have to compete, but you probably know somebody that is. Help them by donating to their teams. We have a ton of different ways that we raise money. We have a silent auction that a lot of community companies have donated certain things that you can come bid on certain things in our silent auction. You can buy a shirt. More importantly, too, you can help your team by donating to their team. These teams cannot participate in the final workout, which a lot of these teams are trying so hard to get into. Mm-hmm. They cannot compete unless they raise a certain amount of money. So donations to a team, donations, through the silent auction, shirt sales. There's a lot of different ways, and you don't actually have to be an athlete. You just have to be involved and
Right.
come out and watch. We actually, this year, we've had a lot of help from past Olympians. Norik Vardanian and Jenny Arthur have came to help us raise money a couple of years
Wow.
ago. And it was just amazing to watch them participate and lift with us. This year we have Cheryl Hayworth from Atlanta, Georgia. She's one of the most famous and best female Olympians in the U.S. that we've ever had in weightlifting. And she's coming out to lift a little bit too. So people can come watch. And if they come watch these amazing athletes from our fitness community and weightlifting, they can see really cool teams from mom and daughter, or father and daughter. Like, there's a lot of really cool teams that you can come watch, and it's an all hands on deck, like Lisa said. Everybody comes out.
That's very cool. So the event is called Pulling for Our Little Heroes, and it's taking place, what's the date in September?
So the beach volleyball is September 3 and 4,
Okay.
and that's ran at the Silver State Beach Volleyball Club.
Okay.
And then September 6 and 7, Friday night and Saturday, will be the weightlifting and CrossFit competitions.
Okay, perfect. And like you said, there's many different ways that our community can get involved. If you're not an athlete, if you're not looking to participate and compete, you can be involved by, let's say you're a local business, you can donate an item for the silent auction. Or if you just want to financially support, you can make a monetary donation and you can help these teams get into the competition because they need to raise a quota so that they can compete.
They can compete in the final.
Okay.
Everybody can compete. We actually limit the amount of teams. So there is a cap on the weightlifting teams, the CrossFit teams, and the beach volleyball. And that's just so we can be finished in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and it can run kind of smoothly.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, what we're looking for is, those 25 CrossFit teams, 20 weightlifting teams, and then I think it's 8 beach volleyball. But yeah, there's like you said, there's a lot of different ways you can actually help. You can actually make just donation amount to Northern Nevada Children's Cancer, and then you don't have to go through us, but we're all just raising a bunch of money, and then we're going to donate it right back to them. So yeah, every penny gets. That's why the Sands is so generous. We don't have to pay a fee to use their tent. There's a lot of these things that we get kind of handed to us, but with the same intention of, hey, we're not trying to spend any money.
Right.
We're trying to raise as much money we can for NNCCF.
So this event is taking place, let's just repeat one more time, the dates, times, and locations. You said September 3rd and 4th is the beach volleyball?
Yep, beach volleyball competition at Silver State Volleyball Club. Okay. And that's in the afternoon, so people can, work during the day and then get their feet all sandy.
And volleyball's a lot of fun. You don't even have to really be
God,
good.
It is a lot of fun. I did it 2 years ago. I would love to do it again, but I was just so sore. They have to play quite a bit of games. So
yeah.
But it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to watch.
And September 6th and 7th is the actual weightlifting and CrossFit competition, and that takes place
at the Sands.
Okay.
Yep. And then it's on Friday night, probably around after 4 o'clock p.m. And then on Saturday morning, the relays will start, and we'll probably be done around 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Okay. And anybody can make a donation, an individual donation, directly to NNCCF if they prefer, or you can go through the event itself. And the event is actually tagged on both of your websites. So why don't we give everybody your social media and your contact info?
Yeah, so for us, you can go to our main website, calaverabarbell.com, and there's links on there to sign up, or there's more links if you're just interested in knowing more about the event. Right on our front page, we have our Pulling for Our Little Heroes sign up page. So if you click on that, it'll take you to other links that you can, do your research. We have some great videos on there that our friends have made for us, generously made, Tony Castaneda Films. There's a lot of other little videos and footages and pictures and stuff that you can get from that.
Perfect.
And then our social media is just at Pulling for Our Little Heroes and at Calavera Barbell.
Perfect. And for the Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation, Lisa, how can people find more on your organization and the event?
Yeah, so they can go to nvchildrenscancer.org, and there's a donate button so they can donate directly. They can always reach out to me, Lisa Shaffer, Director of Community Engagement, because like Carlos said, sometimes people really do want to help, but they don't know how. And that is my job, is really trying to help people facilitate. Maybe it's as simple as in their office they have a change drive. We've had people do swear jars in their offices. Yeah. We've had little kiddos, donate their birthday parties. We've had little kiddos do lemonade stands, or buying out of your work clothes for a Friday to wear jeans, or paying to wear a ball cap to work on a Friday. So it's the ideas are endless.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to help. We're right over there off of Longley Lane. You could anybody who is interested. We have an open door policy. We do hospitality tours all of the time to local organizations, professional organizations who are interested in maybe selecting us for an annual giving kind of a campaign.
Yeah.
But we are there, but certainly they can reach out to me. We are, here locally. And again, envychildrenscancer.org. For this event, it's open to spectators. There is no charge. You could come anytime on Friday evening or Saturday to watch the CrossFit or the weightlifting.
That's cool.
And again, you can roam around.
Yeah.
They do a great kickoff, ceremony with the national anthem and all of that on Friday night, and again Saturday morning. So it's a very close knit community, but families welcome. Food trucks are there.
So it sounds like there's a lot going on.
There is a lot of going on.
Plenty of
and
things
fun.
for people to check out.
Yes.
Very cool. And if you are a family in our community who has endured the news of a diagnosis for one of your children, you can log on to envychildrenscancer.org and click the Get Help section. And this is where they can apply for any kind of assistance or support.
Yeah. So, and there's no financial parameters in order to qualify. Our Northern Nevada children and their families, we do need the application, but they just need that doctor confirmation box that their child has cancer and be a Northern Nevada resident.
Perfect. All right. So again, if you're looking to participate or even just be a spectator, the Pulling for Our Little Heroes event is happening September 3rd and 4th and 6th and 7th. And you can make donations on both calaverabarbell.com and envychildrenscancer.org. And this is Deeanna signing off on another fine edition of the Insight Show. Oh, we have one more thing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you for having us.
Oh,
That's
promote
exactly
this.
what I was going to say.
I was gonna.
No,
This is
absolutely.
the more we can get out, the better. Like more families. Thank you so much, Deanna, for having us.
Absolutely. It's my
And
pleasure.
I know. I just want to touch one last thing that Lisa had said. Like honestly, the end goal. Like people are always like, well, what's? I'm like, the end goal, honestly, is that we don't have to do this ever again.
Yeah.
One day that there's a cure and no other kids, and Kylie's wish is honored, and we don't have to do this anymore. That's the ultimate goal. But until then, we pull for our little heroes. So.
Yeah. Well, as long as we've got people like you guys in the community doing things like this, then we'll be closer to that goal, hopefully, sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And so just on behalf of the families we serve and the kiddos that are diagnosed with cancer, I, too, just want to say thank you for this opportunity.
Oh,
every time we get to
absolutely.
chat about who we are, what we do, it adds, we have Deanna's now our new ambassador. You didn't know that, but, and everyone who's out there listening is a new ambassador for, childhood cancer and awareness and who we are and what we do. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, you guys, and you're welcome back anytime. So again, we're signing off. Carlos from Calavera Barbell and Lisa from the Northern Nevada Children's Cancer Foundation. Thanks again for listening to this edition of the Insight Show. We'll see you next week.